Welcome to the Goddess Show podcast, voices of visionary women, inspiring female leaders by interviewing amazing guests to encourage us all to rise up. Enjoy. Welcome to the Goddess Show podcast, voices of visionary women, inspiring female leaders. And I want to say a huge welcome to our very special guest today, Angie Martin. Hello, Angie.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited. So, Angie Martin, you're the founder and lead mentor of The Growth Manager, a seasoned business growth mentor, marketing strategist, and the founder of The Growth Manager, which is an Australian company empowering entrepreneurs with systems that actually work. Fantastic, Angie. And you have to tell our listeners and viewers, this is an Australian company. We have to emphasize this. And what is your accent? Tell us all.
Oh, my accent is very muddled. It is originally from London, Ontario, Canada, which is about 40 minutes to an hour away from Toronto. But I've traveled most of my adult life and I've lived in Australia for nearly 13 years now. I'm a couple weeks away from my 13-year mark.
Oh, wow,
So
wow.
the accent's a bit confused.
It may be confused, but it sounds absolutely fantastic. So
I'm happy you think so.
I love it. So for our listeners and viewers, our theme today is one that I think you're really, really going to relate to, as many of us do. So it's from burnout to balance, a business mentor's intuition-led rebuild, and why you, Angie, believe that your business should serve your life, not the other way around. So that's a great theme, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers will relate. So without further ado, let's launch into the questions and we'll find out all about it. So what motivated and inspired you to start your business?
Well, I was an entrepreneur very young. I created my first business when I was 12 years old. And, I know that's not a normal thing, but I was a real high achiever. I was a real goal-orientated person very young. And I actually started a clothing business, which is completely different from mentoring.
Well,
A
of course,
clothing,
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
go
but a
ahead.
12-year-old girl starting a business, of course, it's going to be fashion, isn't it?
Well, I started designing garments when I was about 7 or 8, and then my mom got me in sewing classes when I was about 10. And so by 12, I was able to design garments and then actually make them. And I made my year 8 prom dress and all
Oh,
that jazz. So I created that business and then created a couple not-for-profit actual volunteer things that I did. And what it did is it helped facilitated me to start my traveling when I was 18,
wow.
traveled the world, and ended up doing my first degree in fashion design.
Wow. So you're a
Which,
fashion designer as
yeah,
well.
yeah, I have a clothing business as well. And, it's one of my passions that I love doing to get a bit creative. And after doing all of that, I was always really interested in the business side of being a fashion brand owner and what it took to be in the fashion industry. And when I moved to Australia, I moved for an internship
You
where I
moved
was
to
doing,
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you there. You moved to another country for an internship.
yes,
Okay, great.
yes, totally normal, totally
Totally
normal.
normal.
I knew
Jump
I
into the
wanted.
deep end.
Yeah, I knew I was graduating. I wanted real life experience and I wanted to just keep traveling while doing it. So I picked
Perfect.
Australia. It's warm, it's got a great culture, and, it was right up my alley.
Fantastic.
And it was for fashion business. And after that, I worked in a couple different brands within the back end of things, running the businesses. And as things grew, I ended up mentoring the businesses on how to take the next step.
Ah,
And then I started mentoring bookkeepers and accountants, and it kind of grew. And to stay in the country, I went back to school. So I did years and years of extra schooling. So I got a Bachelor of Business. I went in and did merchandising. I went in and did accounting, consumer behavior, all these different things that have helped me create the core strategies that I use now. And it was wonderful. And it all really kind of was natural progression of doing it all. But, running your own business, I always worked part-time somewhere else. So I would have, that constant flow of income.
awesome.
And I was going to school full time. And
Overachiever.
it was a lot. It was a lot. And during holidays, I would work, 70-hour weeks
Mm,
and, really do that hustle to get things going. And I caused a lot of damage to myself in my 20s trying to do everything.
yes.
Um,
Okay, can I
yes.
stop you there with all first of all, I don't like placing labels like overachiever. The reason I did it for our listeners and viewers is that I know Angie's story and I know what's coming up. So I think that this is a great preface to the story that you're going to share with us. So my next question actually is about your business. And
Mhm.
although you mentioned that it was a natural progression, why do you think you're so passionate about it?
I've always been passionate about helping others. I started volunteering when I was about 5 or 6.
Oh, so cute.
And, again, totally normal. Um, totally normal. And it's just something that comes very natural to me. I find a lot of my personal happiness comes from when other people are happy, and I
Oh,
can help do that.
yes.
And as I started mentoring more and more people, I realized that I wasn't doing as much impact as I wanted to because I was working at one business at a time.
Mm,
And so I created the growth manager, and I wanted to do it so I could help more people because I knew I had the skills and tips to do it, but it just makes me really happy because I see businesses as communities. And when one business is doing really well, that means that they're able to impact so many more people in a positive way.
yeah, that's
And
great.
it fills my cup.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you so much for that. And now is the time that I'm going to ask you to share as much as you like about
Yes.
your own inspiring story because I know you've overcome some obstacles. So please, if you don't mind, for our listeners and viewers.
Absolutely. I actually love telling this story. And as people are listening, please feel free to laugh. I do. Everyone goes, "Oh, that's so horrible." It's like, well, it's kind of ironic and a bit funny. So you can embrace it. But it was a year after I created the growth manager. I spent the first year of my business going in and creating and building my systems, building my offerings, building my processes so that I can have a really strategic business that could grow quite quickly.
Yeah.
And so I took a year to build everything.
Mhm.
And then I launched it. And I launched it July 2022. Within that first quarter, I made more money than I did the previous year in the entire financial year.
Wow.
And it was going great. It was going really well. And I like to practice what I preach. And I went away to Melbourne, my favorite city in the world, for a little wellness retreat. And while there, I was taking a bath and I hit my head in the shower. And I ignored it for quite a few days. I immediately knew something was wrong, so I called my partner at the time and was like, I want to talk to you to make sure I don't pass out from, a concussion or anything.
So,
But I didn't take it seriously.
sorry. I'm stopping you. So you're in the bath and you hit your head On the shower head or?
So I actually don't have much memory of
Oh
the
wow.
incident itself and
That must
why
be
it
hard.
happened. But what happened is I was finished the bath and I was getting up. And in Melbourne, there's these really cool old-fashioned style soap holders that are really thick metal.
Yeah.
And as I was getting up with the momentum, I smashed my head. And then as I did it, my neck went back and I heard a
Oh wow.
crunch.
Wow.
And then from there, I must have blacked out because I fell back and hit the back of my head
Mm.
and was out for I have no idea how long. It could have been 2 minutes, it could have been 10 minutes. I'm not entirely certain.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so, I went through it, told my partner and was like, hey, just I want to make sure I don't pass out. But besides that, I kind of ignored it until I got home because I was like, I'm in Melbourne. I don't live in Melbourne. I don't want to go to the hospital because, like, I can just go to the hospital up in Gold Coast where I was living at the time. So I got home, and as soon as I got there, my partner at the time hugged me, and I immediately cracked and broke.
Oh,
And all of the pain and all of the adrenaline that had been keeping me going for days just ended. And we got to the doctor, I did scans and everything, and they just were like, oh, you've got a concussion. Take 2 weeks off, you'll be fine.
really?
Yep. And did the 2 weeks, I was not fine. We ended up not finding out what the damage was. It happened at the end of September, and wasn't until in between Christmas and New Year period that they finally did an MRI and we found the extent of the damage.
So it took
And
that long to recommend an MRI. You would have thought, I mean, or you would, I imagine you told them that you cracked your neck.
Mhm.
Um, they,
Yeah, they did X-rays and a CT scan and they didn't find anything broken.
right, right.
So their immediate thing was, you're fine. You
Yes.
have a concussion.
Okay, right.
So it took a little while. I ended up needing to wear my brace pretty much for 10 months. And now I've got chronic pain in my neck that is basically never going to heal.
Mm,
And I have brain damage throughout my entire brain,
mm.
um, and a syndrome that has been caused by that as well. And it's led me to only be able to work about 12 to 15 hours per week.
Oh, what
And
a shame.
I know, tough life.
Okay, for our listeners and viewers, this sounds terrible, doesn't it? Only having to work 12 to 15 hours a week.
Yes. And it's one of those things that, it permanently changed my life. I
Mm.
was 32 at the time. I was gearing up to basically, my goal is to um, pretty much retire by the time I'm 40 and do what I just want to do and volunteer as much as I can and have my money just happening in the background.
Yes.
And, again, high achiever. Um, and it completely changed my life. I went through about a year of grieving for the person I was before, because that person basically is gone. And it was really, really difficult. But I always like to say to people, because I tell them the story and I go, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm not sorry at all. When I was there, I did a sound healing session the week before the accident. And at the end of the session, this saying came to me, and it was, you can do this. And at the time, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like I can grow my business to the point I want it to
Yes.
grow in
But
this
you really
year.
didn't know what it was about, did you?
Yeah, now I know what it's about, and I actually have it tattooed to my neck where I can do this.
I mean, this is a very clear message from the universe saying, "Hello, you've been going full
Mm,
tilt or whatever the saying is for
yes,
since you were a little girl,
yes.
and if you don't want to stop, we're going to stop you."
That's how I look at it. I took 2 weeks off to quote unquote stop burnout because I did suffer from burnout. I didn't mention this. I suffered from burnout at least once a year where I would be unable to do things. And I just look at it as the universe told me that I need to spend a bit more time on my wellness.
Yeah,
So I look at it as a positive because fast tracking now, I do work about 12 to 15 hours a week. I make more money than I ever have. And I do Wellness Wednesdays where I don't work. I focus on my wellness, whatever that needs to be that week.
yeah.
And I pretty much only work in flow state. And again, I've been more successful now than I ever was when I was putting myself in constant burnout.
Fantastic. I think that's a really brilliant message for our listeners and viewers. Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you.
It can be done. Everyone goes, oh, no, I don't have the time, and no, I can't do that. And you can if you have to.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, what comes to my mind is a cliche, but it's a saying about working smarter, not harder. And I think a lot of our listeners and viewers, a lot of our ladies will really appreciate the fact that you don't have to work, 100 hours a week to
Yeah.
get the results that you're working for, to have this freedom in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you, Angie. Great story. It's very inspiring, and I'm really happy for you. Um,
People always go, it's so horrible. And I kind of went, well, I had two options. One, I could be a victim my entire rest of my life and focus on the negatives, or I could pick myself up, focus on the positives, and work with it and make it still a wonderful life. And I chose to just have a wonderful life. It's that
Fantastic.
simple.
I'm so, so happy for you. It's really, it's so inspiring. Thank you, Angie.
Well, it's everyone goes through their own struggles. It's kind of what you do within your online course that you have, where it's, the Goddess online program, where it's going in and finding what works for you and creating what works for you around creating your income and creating it
Yeah,
passively.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
about purpose and passion, isn't it?
it is. Because I personally believe if you have purpose, if you have passion, you'll always find the way to make it work.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that doing what you love means that you don't make money. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot that's a misconception people have. A lot of people have. You can do what you love and make a lot of money and create the freedom that you want for your especially later life.
Especially that. And I do a lot of focus on what I want for my later life. And, I went to Canada and this year, first time since my accident. It was really, really special. Yeah. And I noticed a large amount of older population working in hospitality roles.
Oh, really?
Weirdest thing, like I mean like 80-year-olds
Oh
working in
no, really?
hospitality. And I kind of did some research and heard that, the pension in Canada has changed quite a bit. And it's pretty much now not providing enough
Oh,
to live.
that's so
It
unfortunate.
is so sad. And, whatever you can plan now to
Mm,
make things work, because you never know what's going to happen, and Australia has a really great um, process and program for the older generation, but you want to build in those safety nets of just what if and, what could possibly happen and finding something that you personally align with makes all the difference.
absolutely, I agree with you because you
Yeah.
just don't know what's going to happen. You're kind of freeze. Oh, I've got you back. I lost you there for a little second. So tell us what I'd like to ask you now is to tell us more about your business, the Growth Manager.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the Growth Manager, we focus on creating processes. I have a rule if you do something twice, template it out, create a process for it. My biggest thing is, if you bump your head tomorrow and you can't work, what's going to happen to your business?
For example.
Go figure. So I really go in with clients and we really figure out the pain points by creating a business that people care about because there's so much noise out there now. And what people typically miss is they'll create the business and they'll be posting things and doing things and it's not catching anything. And my biggest question I ask my clients is, why do I care? Why
Mm,
do I care about what you're doing in your business? Why do I care about the products or the services you're offering? Why do I care enough to spend my hard-earned money on your business?
yeah.
And so we go in and we create really strong marketing messages that create the heart of the business. And then we go in and create everything else. But it's really going in and focusing, again, a lot of what you do with the Goddess program, where what you do, why you do it, what the goal is ultimately for creating that business, and then creating and working through how it works best for your clients.
Mm,
And creating marketing campaigns that work off of that, and then creating sales strategies and pricing and ways of monetizing it so that it's easy, it's an easy flow of things, and making sure it's built around what you want and need in your life. Because what typically happens is people will create this great business and it takes like, let's say 45 hours a week to do it, but you only actually have 20 hours a week to dedicate to it.
mm,
And that's where a lot of people have issues because it's not possible to do that. But the way that you can do it is through templates, automations, streamlined processes, and really figuring out what your superpower is, what you can outsource, what can be automated, and what doesn't actually need to be done
yeah. Well, that
to
sounds
make it a
fantastic.
success.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
Our listeners and viewers can really appreciate this because, I mean, it sounds
yeah.
like
And
you
it
have a more holistic approach to business. You're looking at all
absolutely.
aspects and life balance as well, so it's really important. I think that's great. Thank you, Angie. So, I mean, you have told us what the steps were that you took to get your business up and running. I think we've covered that because it happened gradually and naturally, didn't it? Yeah. So,
It really did. It really was in the flow, and I actually had no idea it was until I started researching all of that kind of, managing your energy and having the right mindset and the whole concept of flow state. It's amazing, and it's definitely how the business was created.
fantastic. So it sounds like you've really overcome those challenges and you have told us how you did it. So, what I want to ask you now is how you have kept motivated through difficult times.
I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of crying. Um, there was a lot of tears. And, for I gotta hand it to our, medical system. I got a lot of support and I see, ongoing professionals to help with my mindset and have continual check-ins. And it was a lot of crying and it was a lot of self-pity and it was a lot of grieving. And it got to the point that was I going to let that be my life?
Mm,
Or was I going to still try and live a happy life? Because, I think everyone wants to be happy,
mm.
but you don't know what it means to you sometimes. You say happy, but it's like, but what makes you happy? What actually makes you happy? What actually lightens you up and brights you up? So I went through and, I read a lot of books and I wrote down different activities that make me happy.
Mm,
Actually thinking back to when you were a child, what makes you happy? What do you love to do? And I basically decided that, every day, every week, I would be doing things that make me happy, no matter how bad my symptoms might be. Because
mm.
I'm not gonna lie, I wake up some days and getting out of bed is the most impossible
Really
thing.
difficult. Yeah. I think that's really great advice for our listeners and viewers, having a little happy journal. But it
Yeah.
sounds to me like what got you through, or what is getting you through these hard times, is this solid decision that you've made
Mm,
to make a
mm.
choice. Am I going to let this beat me, or am I going to be happy? And what a great choice to make. It's
When
fantastic.
it comes, my thing is accountability. We are accountable for how we live our life.
Mm,
And when you stop blaming everyone else, everything else, situations, things that happen, in the end, you are the one who's writing your story.
that's
And
right.
when it comes down to it, it really is just that simple as it's a choice.
It is a choice. It is a choice.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is the best advice you've received recently?
Oh, the best advice. This one's a good one because I actually get a lot of advice because I do a lot of my own personal development. But um, I got this one statement where not everything that grows has to hurt you. And
Ah,
why that was so amazing is the body and brain want to continually protect you. And what happens is when you're trying to personally grow or do something new, your brain will actually try and think of every way out of actually doing it because it's thinking it's doing it in your best interest to protect you because new
yeah,
is scary.
yes,
And that's how your brain is programmed. So by, going that not everything that grows has to hurt you, it's really going, it's okay that my brain is scared, but I'm still going to do this.
that's right.
It was a game changer for me and I really liked it.
That is such great advice, because the ego, our negative ego, gets involved as well. All that chattering
Mm,
head, the inner critic,
does.
everything. So I think not that's the best advice I have actually heard recently as well. Not
Mm.
say it again, Angie. Say it again for our listeners.
So the statement is that not everything that grows has to hurt you.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you. So tell me
Yes.
now, what advice would you give to other aspiring female entrepreneurs?
I'm all about values when it comes to business and living your own life. So my biggest advice that I always talk to female entrepreneurs is building a business that reflects your values
Oh, fantastic.
and realizing that you don't have to do it all. You just have to do your superpower and recognizing your weaknesses is okay. I am horrible at spelling and grammar. So when I do presentations and stuff, I always offer people who are in the audience that, hey, if you found an issue with my grammar, please let me know. I'll give you a free session because it's okay to have flaws. It's okay not to be perfect. And, it's not my superpower. Other things are my superpower.
Yeah.
But it's okay to not think like us females because of how we're programmed, we always think that like we need to do everything ourselves.
Yes,
We'll come home and the house is a mess. You got to do food, you need to do your business. It's going, I don't need to do it all.
exactly.
Someone else can help me do this. And by doing it, I'm actually happier. I feel more connected and I'm able to focus on what I do best.
That's such
So, whatever that looks like,
that,
whether it's you hiring someone, partnering, doing collabs, just going, this email is really hard for me to write. Maybe I need an email marketer to help me write my emails. So I don't have to because I postpone it and I torture myself for like 2 months and then I'll finally do it. And I'm not happy with it. It's realizing that, create a business that you really love, that has your values, and then
Yeah.
remember you don't have to do it all.
I think that's a really important message for everyone, because, we do each have our superpower, just like we have our unique fingerprint. We all have a gift to share with the world. The thing is not to judge ourselves when there are things that we just don't know how to do. We don't have to do it all. That's a really important message. Thank you, Angie. So
You're
tell me,
welcome.
what are your favorite, say just a couple, what are your favorite business tools, resources, and why?
I have so many,
I
but
know, that's why I said just a couple.
yeah, I'll only say a couple. One resource I really like is the one that you offer, and it's your Goddess program. I mentioned it earlier.
Oh, thank you.
It's one that like it really helps you find your superpower and then how to monetize it, which again, I think a lot more women in business need to find that. You need to find your why. Once
Yes,
you find your why, then you
yes.
can do anything.
It all
Yeah.
comes down to why, doesn't it? Because when you
Yeah.
have your why, it's not a job anymore. It's something you're doing what you love, which is the biggest gift in the world.
Exactly. And it's, my why is what gets me up in the morning. It's my why is, I'm having a bad day, but I can still just do this one thing and that will make my day worth it.
Oh,
So going through and doing that goddess program is really, really helpful.
Angie, I want to ask you to give us a couple more because that
No
was,
worries. I have ClickUp. It is a project management system
yeah.
because a lot of business owners, when you become a business owner, you're like, this is great. I don't have a boss anymore. But you still need someone to be like, why haven't you done this thing yet? And to help you remember all the different things that need to be done. It's really necessary, and it honestly it tells me what to do every day. It's
Oh,
very handy. It's my own little boss.
oh, your boss.
And then I love, yeah, it's my own little boss. It's my own little like, oh, hey, you're supposed to do this today. You haven't done it yet. What
Okay, what's
what's
going
going
on,
on?
Angie?
Yeah, yeah. And then I love Process Street. It's a program that's specifically to create processes.
Mhm.
So, like I said, if there's something that you do more than once, create a process for it. So, if it's, let's say as simple as you have a product-based business, what happens after an order is placed? What do you do? And a lot of people think it's not so important. But again, what if you wake up tomorrow and you can't do the thing and you
Yeah,
need someone to come in and do it?
yeah, it
That
really
way, it's
takes up time, doesn't it?
all out. It saves a lot of time. And also, when you're tired doing something, which a lot of us are, sometimes you can forget to do something.
Mm.
The processes help you not forget to do something, which is really great,
They're
which is
two,
good. And then, yeah,
they're two
did you have a question?
um, tools and resources
Yeah,
that you mentioned that I personally have never heard of before. So,
they're
for our
fabulous.
listeners and viewers, let us know if you've heard of these great processes and if you're going to use them. That's great advice. Thank you, Angie.
And I have one more because I
One
know a lot
more.
of people,
Great.
one more because I know a lot of people are using it, but they're using it wrong.
Oh,
Um,
oh, what is it? What is it?
and it hurts me. ChatGPT.
Oh, okay. That's a big one. I think a lot of people use Chat GPT.
They do. And I love it. I use it
I love it
personally.
too.
It's fabulous. I have so much fun with it. However, one thing I want to highlight is ChatGPT, when it's used for content creation and copywriting,
Mm,
people need to understand that the copywriting that is being created, when it's on Google, Google flags it as being written as AI,
mm,
being written by AI, and it actually penalizes the landing pages in the content because it's written 100% by AI.
mm.
So what I always recommend people to do is invest in the paid version of ChatGPT. I know it's not cheap, but it's so worth it.
Mm.
What you can do is when you're wanting to create things, ChatGPT has a built-in recorder tool where you can talk to it. It will transcribe what you want to say, and then it will create the content off of what you're actually saying in an audible way. Because why that's a better way of doing it is when you write things down, your head gets in the way.
Mm.
But when you say things with the knowledge that just comes immediately to your head. And it has your tone, it has the way that you actually speak, and it has your terminology that you say that ChatGPT can't pick up by itself. So when you use that tool, you're able to actually create the content not only off of AI content, but your own information in your own knowledge base, which won't be as flagged.
I think that's really great advice, Angie. And
It's a big one.
it's a really big one. It's a really big one because I'm sure that a lot of people have suffered with this penalization that happens by using AI, just AI. And this sounds like this picks up your own voice and tone and the
It
way.
does.
Does it have to be auditory, or can you also write, type it in?
You can type it in. I find it's faster though when you do it auditory because 5 minutes of us talking could be like 2 hours of typing.
Right. Yes, you're right. Absolutely
So
right.
I find it, because me, I only have limited time. I find it's much faster. Just pretend that you're talking to someone like we are right now and get that content out there, and then ChatGPT can do the rest.
Fantastic. That's really good advice. You are sort of breaking up a little bit. I'm losing you here and there, just to let you know. So I don't want to lose you before I ask you a couple of great questions. So what are your goals at the moment? Or what is your goal at the moment and how are you striving to achieve it?
Well, I've gotten more capacity to work with more clients, just a natural progression. It takes about 5 years for the brain to kind of create new sections,
Mm,
new wavelengths, and I've started to be able to take on some more clients. So right now, I'm just trying to get some more clients that align specifically with who I actually work with. I say no to a lot of people because they don't align with my values.
yes.
And I'm ready to kind of take on more people. And I'm really looking at focusing on our resource suite. We have a really amazing resource library that we actually give away for free. And
Wow.
I'm really wanting to boost that up because I love being able to offer things for free for people who are starting out and wanting to take a look around. And it fills my cup.
That's fantastic. So, given that, are you currently running any promos, contests, or giveaways?
We aren't doing any promos or anything, but again, like I said, this is the first time since my accident that I am taking new clients on. So we are officially opening our books to new mentees, which I'm very excited about.
Fantastic.
It's very exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and the way we do it, we always offer free 30-minute growth sessions so that we can go in. I get to know you a little bit more, you get to know me a little bit more, and at the end of the sessions, I always create kind of like an action plan for you,
Yeah.
which whether you end up going with us or not, it doesn't really matter. You get the resources, but it's a really great way to get to know each other and see if we both want to work together. So that one's always a free offer.
Thank you so much. That's such a great offer, Angie. And giving everyone a, 30-minute session, access to your resources. I mean, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. And for our listeners and viewers, please take advantage of that. So tell me, if there was one wisdom nugget that you could share with the world, what would you say to inspire other women?
You're allowed to create your business your way.
Great. Love it. Short, sweet. Fantastic. So tell me, Angie, how can we connect with you?
You know, I'm always on my email. I'm a huge email person. Don't SMS me. I will not get back to you.
You heard it.
But I'm always on my email and it's just Angie at thegrowthmanager.com.au, and I'm always hanging out on Instagram. It's the growth manager underscore AU, and I love being able just to have chats on my Insta, and we give a lot of free info on Instagram as well.
Fantastic. So everyone follow Angie and the Growth Manager on Instagram. It's the Growth Manager _AU. So make sure you follow the Growth Manager and Angie at thegrowthmanager.com.au. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So thank you so much. I have heard some really, really great advice for our listeners and viewers. And I want to say a huge thank you to you, Angie, and a huge congratulations on your journey, which sounds absolutely amazing. And I look forward to collaborating with you and to continuing this great relationship that we've begun. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you so much. And I also just want to, real quick before we finish, thank you for the work that you are doing with your community. Like I said, I love businesses who make a positive impact on other people. And, you really do that. And you're really inspiring yourself. And anyone who's lost or feeling lost and feeling like they want to do something else or, add that extra way of having an income based around what they love doing, highly recommend to check out the Goddess program and just really owning the fact that there is more and that they can be happy. And I
Yeah.
think you really help inspire that, which is really great. So thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. And right back at you. Bye, bye for now, Angie. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Goddess Show podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, share, and we look forward to seeing you next time.